thought AI was just writing weird fanfiction, BookTok is spiraling, and it's way worse than that. Hi, I'm Rachel DeYoke, and you're listening to Rationally Insane. In today's Hot Topics, we're discussing AI app drama, creators making some of the worst decisions that I've ever heard of, and general BookTok chaos. So you can get a rundown of what's happening in the internet drama without actually having to spend 30 hours scrolling. Really, I'm doing you a favor here and saving your sanity. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself. But let's begin at the start. So this BookTok creator, let's call her Mary, exposed a plagiarized book online, which is obviously amazing. Whenever you're a creator with a big following and you're bringing to light issues that are affecting small authors, more power to you. I absolutely love anybody that's using their platform for good and speaking up about issues that are affecting others. Yay for this creator, but here's where things took a turn for the worst. She also promoted an AI storyline generator app. Yeah, a creator that talks exclusively about books and spotlighting different authors is now talking about AI, a robot whose entire purpose is giving anybody the ability to create the most bland-ass stories, some for profit, and remove anything that is curious, fascinating, exciting about art. And yes, books are art. Not to mention that this AI storyline generator app, and any AI app for that matter, is quite literally trained on hundreds of thousands of works out there. Oftentimes, these books are taken and fed to these training apps without any author giving them permission. It is literally stealing the work of authors, giving them no credit, no compensation, and then spitting it out and giving it to the masses. If you can't guess, I have some pretty strong feelings about that. And then to really take this and make it worse, this creator went on to endorse AI thirst traps that were sexualizing a character who was a minor. Specifically from the book series Boys of Tommen, where the majority of the main characters are in high school. So these are all minors, and she is posting and sexualizing literal children under the guise of, oh no, these are just AI generated images. And when people, rightfully so, brought up, hey, this is really freaking weird and you shouldn't do that. Like, anytime you're sexualizing a minor, it's weird. It doesn't matter that this is a fictional character. It's still fucking weird. This creator, Mary, claimed ignorance. Pretended that this is all fine, I don't know what you're all talking about. But the problem with the internet is that anything that you do, people can find it out. So it was pretty easy to find different posts of her, comments, reposts, of her being fine with AI before, having a pattern of this sort of behavior, and really doubling down on it. Rightfully, there was a lot of backlash to this, and authors called her out. Pretty major authors, might I say. As in, if authors of this caliber were hopping on social media and tearing me a new one, I might just have to archive my entire account and drop off the face of the earth like some freaking hermit, because I don't think I could handle this. Now, there's been a lot of discourse on AI beyond this creator. And anytime somebody talks about AI in the book world, you get two very distinct sides of things. Either it's people putting out real concerns of authors using AI and not disclosing it, books that are AI generated coming out into the public domain, the fact that your work as an independent author, no matter where you publish it, could basically be stolen, and somebody could go out and ask an AI, hey, write me a book in the style of this person. I also want to point out a little detail here. It's very easy if you're not an author or not even thinking about being an author to assume that this issue doesn't concern you. Being like, well, I never want to be an author, and I've never written anything, so what does it matter to me? Here's the real issue. If you can do this with a book, then you can do this with anything. Somebody can take your Instagram post comments, flip it around, train an AI on your tone of voice, and start speaking like you and having your opinions put out there as their own. If you're a content creator right now, you're making content on TikTok or Instagram, or even dream of being an influencer, again, somebody could do that. They could steal all of your content, feed it into a machine, and within minutes be copying your entire personality for their own gain. And I'll give you another example. Somebody could go on any social media where you have pictures of yourself, feed it into an AI model, and have you say and do things that you didn't do. They can create profiles under your name, they can profit off of them, create accounts where you're doing and saying things that you didn't do. no matter how vile or that you don't agree with them. You can see where the problem lies. I think everybody can. And so try and think about that from an author's perspective. All of your hard work, all of the blood, sweat, and tears, because books don't come out in the snap of a finger. Authors spend years pouring everything into them. There are hours and hours of work involved in them. And to see that being stolen, of that being spun around, AI apps coming out and being like, chat with this book character, while the authors who actually designed this intricate, complicated book character with their own motivations and their own backstory are looking at the body of their work being turned into another capitalistic toy that they have no control over. Freaking disheartening. On the other side of it, there's also a lot of fear-mongering about AI in publishing. Maybe fear-mongering isn't the right word, but I do think there are some issues of us having such a blanket approach to hating on AI, especially as people jump on the bandwagon of, oh, AI is bad. It's very easy to start accusing people of using AI in books or using AI to create art or book covers and jumping on this whole bandwagon of lashing out on them without actual proof. I think that's where we need to be a little bit more conscientious about how we're discussing AI. I've seen AI creep in a lot into the indie spaces. I've seen people discuss it as a helpful tool for world generation and organizing thoughts. I've seen people who have dyslexia or any other learning disabilities discussing how AI can help them achieve this dream that they've had of finally being able to write a book or write any piece of content that they're genuinely proud of. And I understand that. But I've also seen how quickly, once we begin accepting that and accepting, oh, let's just use it for this specific scenario, suddenly everything becomes an exception. And it's very easy for us to slowly take this approach that I'm just using it for this little thing, and then actually I could just use it for this other little detail, and suddenly your book is more AI than human generated. You've lost the plot, and it's so easy to fall into it as well, which is why I didn't even know if I should be making this podcast episode, because I'm not quite sure if there's anyone to blame here. Is it the creator's fault that there is an AI storyline generator app? No, not really. She didn't create. Is it her fault for wanting to actually make money off of her platform that she's worked so hard to build? No, I think any creator should deserve compensation. Would we all hope that you wouldn't promote things that you morally disagree with? Also, yes. But there's that expression, you would do it too for a check. If somebody was paying you a ridiculous amount of money to make a post that you don't necessarily agree with, but that isn't like killing anyone, wouldn't you do it? We're entering such a gray area. We start catastrophizing things, where using AI is basically like murdering a puppy or burning down an orphanage. Like, we need to put a relative scale on these things, we completely lose our minds. Because once you start noticing this pattern of everyone's taking this way off track, and the more we discuss it, the less we discuss things that actually matter, like holding the actual platforms accountable for stealing the works of authors, or having creators not being paid fair compensation for the work that they're doing. It's like this entire ball of yarn, and everything's so tangled together that whenever I come across a 15-second Instagram, TikTok, whatever, tearing down a creator or having a clear blanket, no AI for anyone, and if you use AI, you're the worst person in the world, I have to take a step back and be like, well, where's your discernment? I understand why really big authors were calling this creator out, and I understand why it was necessary to have that discussion. Don't get me wrong, but I think that we're lacking this massive amount of empathy, and we're creating these viral little moments without taking into context any nuance, because the moment you insert nuance, then it isn't as clickbaity, it isn't as viral. Nobody wants a discussion anymore. We just want to be told what to do and what to think and what opinion to have. And you might be like, wow, that is a very dark view on the world. It's actually not. Critical thinking skills are at an all-time low. Literacy levels are plummeting across the world, especially in so-called developed countries like Australia and France and the USA and the UK. Go search for it right now and you'll find that even though we have more access to information than ever before in history, we are losing our ability to have our own thought processes, to come up with our own opinions. The social sphere is guiding your opinion, and if yours doesn't match, suddenly you're not allowed on the table. You're not allowed in the discussion. You feel ostracized. And this is happening on such a micro and macro level that it is sucking into every aspect of our lives, and we don't even realize it. Suddenly, it's months later, you come across a comment you made on a post about some random ass scandal, and you're like, damn, this is really harsh. But it was you. It was you when you were being influenced and being told what to think by all these viral sensation moments. And BookTok culture is continuously feeding into this spiral. Social media platforms are built like slot machines. They're there to keep you entertained and keep you on the app for as long as possible. So they'll keep feeding you content that you engage with. And as a creator on the other side, you're going to continue making content that gets engagement. Everything becomes a performance. The comments you make, what the creator creates, the values that they align with, and the values that you respond to, everything is built for clout. Contradictions are eradicated entirely because what matters the most is that everyone is paying attention for the right or the wrong reasons. And coming back into this sort of AI drama, the big takeaway that I want you to take from this, it really is that the industry is panicking. People are panicking because AI is going to steal their jobs and steal what makes you great. People who are using AI want to use it at the fastest rate possible before everybody else jumps on the bandwagon, so they're churning out content and getting as many ads out there as they possibly can to sucker people into them and get their money. And the only way that I can foresee us not getting sucked into this machine is by stepping out of it, by continuously vouching for humans, leaning on human stories, accepting the contradictions, having a genuine discussion about things that you might not agree with someone else. When a creator says something that you disagree with, instead of immediately checking out, being like, that's an interesting opinion. Let's dig into this. Let's maybe consider why my take might be different from theirs, why their view might be different from mine. And this isn't something that's currently celebrated in society for all of the reasons that we've already discussed. But I want to remind you also that the reason why human and unfiltered stories will always win is because they're where the creativity actually comes from. If you're thinking about being an author and you're seeing everybody else pull out books so freaking fast while you're losing sleep trying to make your work the best it can be, and then comparing it to some AI generated slop that just sounds better, I need you to remember that you're the one writing something original. You're the one who is setting the foundation for something that matters, for something that people want to listen to. Think back to some of the BookTok popular books out. How many people are jumping up and saying, hey, none of these books feel cool anymore? I don't actually like any of them, and if anything, they've driven me into a reading slump where nothing appeals to me. The reason why that is happening is because every single book that's being popularized and marketed is just a carbon copy of whatever's the most popular right now. None of them are saying anything original. They're just there to hold your attention and to make money. AI is just that multiplied times 1,000. Your leverage and the way that you're going to stand out is by being the one who sets the freaking trend, who goes against the grain, who writes something that is purely from you, from your memories and from your mind and from the weird little daydreams you have in the car. Be dramatic, be ridiculous, scream, cry, and throw up on the page. Not literally, I'd hope. Write things that you're proud of, not things that are perfect. Nobody wants perfect. When's the last time you've looked at a canvas that was technically perfect and it actually cry or feel something? When's the last time you went to a beautiful person's Instagram profile, the most gorgeous influencer in the world, and actually felt anything besides slight jealousy or numbness? But the weird influencer, the one that's doing silly stuff and being authentically themselves and showing their bad days, they're the ones that you're actually following because they're making you laugh. All of this pressure that you're feeling, I need you to remember that is what society wants you to feel. Capitalism makes money off of your insecurities. If you're insecure about their acne, they're gonna sell you acne medication. If you're a girl that's insecure about the size of their boobs, they're gonna sell you a boob job and triple push-up bras. If you're a guy who's insecure about his abs, they're gonna sell you some 6-week ab workout. Some AI app out there is going to show up shiny and new, promising to make your book the best it can be. Everything feeds off the insecurities. So starve it. And the only way to starve it is by being okay with not being perfect. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider giving it a 5-star rating or dropping a like wherever you're listening, and I'll see you next week.